As part of your lower body warm-up for exercises like squat or deadlift, we want to make sure our hips are feeling ready for those sports or for those activities. We want to go through 5 to 6 exercises that we feel have become some of the best things we've used for ourselves and for our clientele or patients here. The first one is getting into a hip 90-90. As you see, I'm making a 90 degree from my knee here, front in the pelvis, and opposite knee, and either leaning over and getting a glute stretch on the posterior side, holding for 2 minutes at a time, and or rotating and getting more internal rotation on the opposite side. 2 minutes at a time. The next one is a hip external rotation lift off. When we do a lift off, it is literally as you're just lifting and not necessarily a hover where you're trying to move it over something. So to get some range of motion, I don't mind if you have to modify your position a little bit. You might have to get down to an elbow or even down further, but from here, with knee staying relatively tight to the ground, I'm just going to lift and try to create external rotation. That's what's happening at the hip as my foot and ankle are coming off of the ground. Lift and hold. This is slow and controlled. It's not forced and then dropped. It's up and down.
For the next exercise, we are going to do internal rotation lift-offs. So we've already hit an external, which is that front leg. Now we're going to be hitting internal rotation of the hip, which is this back leg. To do the lift-offs, you're going to lift your ankle off of the floor. You're going to do this without cheating and dumping forward with your body or the hip. Make sure that hip stays back and lift. If you find that you can't do this, it is okay to lean forward to give yourself more room or even out to the side. Find the range of motion that is most difficult for you without any pinch points, and you're going to do about 8 to 12 repetitions of this. Your next exercise, we're going to be hitting into hip extension. I really like hitting into hip extension to really get the glutes ready and primed for your movement. So to do this, we're going to be placing you on the floor face down, and the reason why we're face down is to keep your lower back out of the equation. But make sure that you're breathing into your core and trying to keep it tight so that your back isn't doing weird things like that. From here, you're going to bend a knee, keeping that core tight, and lift the heel up towards the ceiling as high as you can. Really trying to find your glutes to do the lifting. With this one, do about 10 to 15 repetitions and 1 to 2 sets.
The lock clams is done by getting into a side lying posture. Again, you're going to go into a hip leg lock and then rotate your body almost as if you're laying down on the ground. Knee is going to contact into the ground, and then from there you lift. That foot stays contacted, it doesn't have to go anywhere, and we lift. Lift and hold if you need to for a few, but really trying to find that contraction of that outer glute to really turn on those external rotators at the same time.
The next exercise we're going to do is to warm up the adductors, because those tend to get a little bit overlooked. You will need a bench for this, and ideally a bench that does not have hardware underneath. What you're going to be doing is you're going to drop down onto your hip, stick one knee up on the edge, and then pulling the hips up and forward so you're in a nice straight side line. You're going to lift the body. From here, we're going to start making it dynamic by dropping the hips down towards the floor, then lifting them back up. You're going to do this from anywhere from 5 to 12 to 15 reps, whatever you can handle, and hold for a second or two at the top.